Hi guys, welcome to Kamil's Data Cave where you can bolster up your IT skills, and today we're going to cover some Excel tricks, and that is when working with Excel, sometimes you might want to see always the first row of your table or of your worksheet. And how can we do it in Excel? Today I'm going to show you two ways. If you don't want to miss out on this kind of tricks or other tricks, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. So how can we keep the first row always visible in Excel worksheet? Well, there are several answers to that. Two basic answers are: before we proceed, we need to define which row of the table or of the worksheet we want to keep as always visible, because sometimes it's not so obvious. If we take a look at the worksheet here. In the worksheet, I have this first row saying, oh, this is a current price list, but my table really starts somewhere from the fourth row. I need to decide, well, if I scroll my table down, do I want to keep this is a current price list row, or I want to keep the first row visible? Well, I'm going to show you one universal way so you can always decide what you want to keep as always visible in your worksheet. The basic rule is that you always select the cell that is just below and to the right of the worksheet area that you want to keep visible. So let's say I want to keep only first row always visible, which is the first row of my worksheet. So I need to select everything that has this space above to be locked and to the left to be locked. So I don't want to really lock any columns. I just want to keep the first row. So if I select A2 cell, it means I'm going to keep everything above the second row, so row number 1, and I'm not going to have anything towards the left hand side of my worksheet screen. So I'm going to keep only the first row. And what should I do then? Well, I just need to go to view and say, well, you know what, Excel, I just want to freeze panes. And I see this very slender line above which everything is locked when scrolling down. You see, when I scroll my worksheet down, I always see this is a current price list caption. If I want to unfreeze the window, I just go to freeze panes and choose unfreeze panes. If for some reason I would like to see the first row of my data range, and I would always like to keep my column first, so whenever I scroll or wherever I scroll my worksheet, I want to see the row with headers and I always want to keep column B, I can position my worksheet before locking first. So for example, I can scroll it down a bit. So my column A and all the rows above are not relevant to me. And then I can just select C5 cell. Why C5? Because I want to lock everything. I want to freeze everything which is above the fifth row and which is to the left from the C column. So once having the C5 selected, I just go to freeze panes and choose freeze panes once again. And look, I have these slim lines here between B and C. So whenever I scroll my worksheet down, I always see this first row. And when I try to scroll my worksheet right, I always see the column with product names. Can I scroll beyond the limit now towards the upper part of my worksheet or towards the first edge, so column A? No, because when I try, you see it's not possible, not even using these arrows on your keyboard. You can go there, you can select a cell, which we can clearly see using these name bugs, but we cannot really scroll the worksheet. So we see only what we wanted to see. And if once again we want to let everything to be seen on the screen, we just go to freeze panes and choose unfreeze panes. And this is the solution number 1. I can always use it no matter whether I use a real Excel table or a data range. I can keep as many columns and as many rows visible on the screen as I want. But there is also another ultra cool feature in Microsoft Excel, and that is a real Excel table. So often in my tutorials I mention real Excel tables because they have a lot of improvements for your formulas, pivot tables, filtering, sorting, and so on and so on. And one of the improvements also, one of the benefits of the table is that if you create a real Excel table, I'm going to create it using Ctrl T shortcut. I got some colors, but that's not so relevant to me at the moment. But if I select any of the cells in my table, and that is very important, not in a worksheet, but in a table, when I scroll it down, Excel is going to put this header row into a place where previously header columns were available. I don't see any longer like A, B, C, D, E, F. I see A, which is a column outside of a table, but then I see product name, manufacturer, brand, color, and so on and so on. If I click outside my Excel table, I'm not going to see these headers, which is super cool, because whenever I want to check only headers for one specific table, I just click on it and I can clearly see it. Does it always happen? Well, if we scroll our worksheet up, and we see that there's no need really to show these headers replacing previously existing header columns. Why? Because I can still see both the header of a table and the labels for the columns. Actually, is not going to duplicate the action, so it's not going to show them at the moment. But when I start scrolling down and I see that my header would actually hide below these headers columns, Excel is going to display these table headers. If you don't want to miss out on these cool Excel tricks, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. If there is anything you would like me to explain, talking about maybe Power BI or Excel, just leave me a comment below, and see you soon.